I'm Jason Lynette, and this is Client Testimonials Made Easy. Imagine building a hypnotic business that consistently scales itself up year after year. Imagine changing the dynamic of your hypnosis business so you have systems in place so consistently and reliably people are reaching out to you who are, one, motivated to change, two, already see the value in what you do and are convinced it's going to work for them, and three, they're willing to pay for your services. Well, these are the principles that I stand by as I talk to other hypnotists such as you in terms of helping you to build a thriving hypnotic business. Hey, I'm Jason Lynette. I'm the host of the Work Smart Hypnosis podcast. And this presentation, let's just jump right in. This is Client Testimonials Made Easy. And a bit of a backstory to what we're about to get into, which was that if you rewind my career back a little over a dozen years, I began my journey in hypnosis briefly as a stage hypnotist doing motivational and educational programs for schools and corporate groups. I soon transitioned out of that full time to then open up Virginia Hypnosis, where I'm sitting in the classroom of it right now. Virginia Hypnosis is a business which, by the way, the week of this release actually celebrated 10 years in business. Excuse me, I have an itch. There we go. Got it. But really, I give you that as the backstory because these are not pipe dreams. These are not theories. You're about to learn the real work. And even more importantly, as somebody who positions himself as the hypnosis business guinea pig, this is not just what I did years ago to get the business up and running. You are about to learn exactly what I am doing right now consistently, which helps me to bring in these premium clients and continue to scale the business up year after year. A little bit of the backstory as well is that working with clients for a variety of issues over the years and kind of discovering the specific niche and even micro niche markets, if you've heard me speak before, of the groups that I tend to target. So I tend to see a lot of clients helping them to stop smoking. I see a number of weight loss clients. Thanks to the release of my best-selling book, Work Smart Business, Lessons Learned from Hypnotizing 250,000 People and Building $1 Million Brand. Well, embedded inside of this book were many stories of a very specific category of work, helping people to overcome public speaking fears and helping them to become even more influential with their hypnotic language patterns while speaking in public. Well, it's by working in specific niche categories. I'll give you a preview. There are consistent assets that I can make use of time and time again, which help to build that snowball effect that by the time the person is on the phone with me, they are already willing and motivated to do the work. So, Client Testimonials Made Easy. The thing that's going to be unique about this presentation is that this is not what I did years ago, even though it is. It's more importantly, the stuff that I'm continuing to do right now, which again helps to scale the business up and add even more value to what I do. A little bit more about me, you can head over to worksmarthypnosis.com. That is the free podcast that I've put out every Thursday for the last 5.5 years. More than 240 episodes at the release of this content here, featuring interviews with top hypnotists, my own business content, my own hypnotherapeutic content, and it's now been downloaded more than 500,000 times in more than 80 countries around the world. So subscribe to that right away, get the access over at worksmarthypnosis.com. As a small preview, as is my usual style, there's going to be some additional resources that I'm going to share with you as part of this presentation. So some of the specific survey tools that I use, an example of the emails that I send out, and as I like to say, rather than furiously having to write down a bunch of notes, we are going to get this entire presentation transcribed. Because sometimes it's about being able to say the right words at the right order, and by doing that, you can just model what I've already found to work for you. So let's just jump directly in. So the question though is, I'm about to break this thing down into 10 easy steps, which 10 steps is a lot. Do you have to do the entire system? Well, I think it's better if you do, but the statement simply becomes some of you are brand new to hypnosis. So some of you don't have the moving pieces, don't have the assets that I'm about to talk about, and that's okay. Now, then again, some of you are seasoned professionals, have already been seeing clients for quite some time, and in that case, set aside 2 hours. You can set up everything I'm about to talk about. A small investment of money, very minimal, if even that, and you can be up and running using exactly what I'm about to show you. But again, if you're brand new, don't look at the entire system and say, I can't do that yet. The biggest issue that I often see is that people look at something and say, but I don't have that, so I can't do that. I don't have a book. I don't have the big pile of testimonials like Jason has. I don't have the big fancy classroom and the big fancy office yet. We all start somewhere. Start with what you've got, and I'm going to give you some options and examples of that along the way. Everybody has to get their first testimonial once. And I'll give you a little bit of a bonus here, which isn't even in the content here. If you are just getting started out, I'm okay with you getting testimonials and working with friends and family members. Now, recognize that your friends and family members knew you before you got into hypnosis. And here's the language that I would use if I was in your situation. Let's say it's a friend of yours that you'd like to work with for stress relief, for weight loss, whatever it may be. And here's the language. We'll call your friend Joe. And if your friend's name is Joe, seriously, help him out. He's a good person. Hey, Joe, you know what? When I actually open up and start to see clients professionally, I'm going to be charging like $150 to maybe $200 per session. Since you're one of my friends, I'm not going to charge you that. But let me ask you this. Assuming it goes as well as we both know it will, rather than pay me money for the service, could I count on you for some sort of testimonial as a result of the work that we do together? It'd be great if you could fill out a quick survey form, or even better, if I could shoot a quick video for you to tell your story of success. That would be very helpful once I'm up and running and charging others for my services. That'd be great. Thank you. So within that language, what did I do? I created some emotional buy-in. I created some skin in the game as a result of actually building that dialogue. So now there's a great mechanism to start to get testimonials from people. I'm going to go off on a small rant on this before we get into the content. I don't think it's appropriate to get the, I just did my first session testimonial, because the real results are in the long term. It's where really in my current era, in the shape of Virginia Hypnosis, I am reaching out to clients I saw like 3 or 4 years ago, because I want that longevity testimonial. I want that testimonial that I quit smoking with Jason 4 years ago, I've never felt better, and all 5 of my friends that I've referred to him have also stopped smoking. I saw Jason to overcome my fear of public speaking, and as a result of that, here's what I've created in my business ever since. Which again, we all start somewhere. You might not have those things yet, but consider, even for those of you that are seasoned pros, start to reach out and just simply make that invite. I'm completely willing to go to their homes, go to their offices, and shoot those videos. So let's jump directly into this system. So step 1, have reviews. Thanks for watching, everybody. Okay, let's do more. So yes, this is going to be a much easier system to implement if you already have client testimonials. However, we all start somewhere, and if that's the case, you don't have them yet. So instead, stand on the success of your profession. Well, if you head over to scholar.google.com, you can search the word hypnosis in any one specific issue and find tens of thousands of studies pointing to the efficacy of hypnosis. And thanks to Dr. Richard Nongard, I'll make this easy for you. If you just go to Google and search 101, as in 101, proofs Nongard, one of the first 1 or 2 hits. I'll link to this in the references that I'll send out. One of the first hits is actually Richard Nongard's 101 Proofs That Hypnosis Works, or some fancier title that he wrote, and I am not remembering because it's on the bookshelf behind my camera. We're prepared for this. So it's where to have those resources ready to go. So let's say, here's the scenario. Let me plant some seeds here as to where we're going. Someone is reaching out to you for hypnotic weight loss. What if they could have already read your weight loss hypnotic reviews? Or if you didn't have that yet, what if instead you could be sending them specific pointed research that points to the efficacy of hypnosis, specifically about hypnotic weight loss? Or, both. I'm not doing that. I should. Yeah, we should do that. So to look at this mindset of, again, I want to be able to lead with the assets. You know, we lead with social proof. For anything that we want to buy, so often we play the game of looking online at reviews. In fact, recently I pulled the top 1,000 organic keywords of the Virginia Hypnosis website, and I'm publishing that in my private hypnotic business systems community. And one of the top reviews was, two of them, Virginia Hypnosis Reviews and Jason Linett Reviews. These are things that people are typing into the internet, and so much better to show those results rather than just simply tell about them. So these are specific keywords that people are looking for in your business, in my business, and even for those of you starting up your business as it begins and continues to grow and thrive. So step one is to simply have these assets already in place, ready to go. So again, for those of you that are seasoned, you've already got some reviews. Good, start with those. For those of you that are starting out, stand on the success of your profession. You can use Richard Nongard's resource. You can look them up on scholar.google.com. Just be sure, as always, to give credit where it's due. So step one, there we go. Step two, run the velvet rope system. Now, this is something that I teach online in Hypnotic Business Systems, though I will walk you through it briefly. And really, it's not something that's too private. You can see it all actually in action over at the Virginia Hypnosis website. In fact, here on the screen, there's the virginiahypnosis.com website, or simply call my office phone number. No one's going to answer it because I'll explain why. I used to have a really good problem. And the really good problem was that I was getting like 25 to 35 brand new phone calls a day. And this is outstanding. Now, I'll give you some insight as to how I run my business. That the shape of things right now, and I want you to understand that there are several moving pieces to what I do. So what I'm about to say may be overload to some of you, and if you're not running all the bits and pieces that I am, relax. Because the shape of things right now, as I say it, seeing hypnosis clients is not the only hypnosis thing that I do. So I'm in my office Monday through Friday, and I do a 10 o'clock, a 1 o'clock, and a 4 o'clock appointment. It's not that my appointments are 3 hours long at max. They're usually like, some of them are 2 hours, most of them are about 75 to 90 minutes. However, it's those times in between where I'm organizing things for the podcast, organizing things for upcoming training events, putting out projects and having media creation time for like putting out the book and ongoing material, working on some new courses, going out to the business community where I also speak. So I see, again, where some people talk about build that six-figure hypnosis income, I've built 3 of them. I see live clients, I do live presentations, I teach online, and even in the next year, we're launching several new components as well. So because of this, I've got a large virtual team. I've got a full-time web and graphic person. I've got a part-time video person, a part-time transcription editing person. I've got podcast editors and several moving pieces. Now, early on, the thought was, should I hire someone else to take my calls? So as of right now, really in this 1,200 square foot Virginia Hypnosis office, it's just me. And that's really how I like it, because that's just the shape of how I'm able to scale things up and turn on the camera and shoot projects like this at a whim, rather than having to schedule around other people's appointments. That may change at some point. In the past, I had other practitioners working here as staff. Though the shape of it was, could I hire someone to handle those incoming calls, or could I put another hypnotic business system in place that helps to reduce those calls down, but by reducing them only bring in the quality leads? And that's the velvet rope system. Now, credit where it's due. This is something that I've modeled from Book Yourself Solid, a phenomenal book by Michael Port, inspired by people in my industry like Michael DeShalit, Dan Candell, and a few others too, and just kind of putting my own spins on it. And this is a whole system I do teach in my program, Online Hypnotic Business Systems. But here's the basic overview of it. If you were to call my office number, you would hear this exact voicemail, and I can do it rote because I've done it for the last 1.5 years, and sometimes I update it if I'm going to be out of town for a while. Hey, it's Jason Linett at Virginia Hypnosis, and for faster service, please head over to the website virginiahypnosis.com/call, C-A-L-L. That's where you may schedule a specific time that I will call you back, guaranteed, which saves you on the frustration of phone tag. You're welcome to leave a voicemail here, though again, for faster and immediate service, head over to virginiahypnosis.com/call, C-A-L-L. Thank you so much, and I look forward to speaking and working with you very soon. And scene. So there you go. That's the voicemail. So what that does is it then points them over to that website, which also, if you go to virginiahypnosis.com, throughout the entire website, the specific CTA, call to action, is not call this number for your consult. It's click here to schedule your 20-minute phone strategy session. So when they go there, these people now fill out an application. So by filling out an application, they are specifically answering questions like, what issue would you like to address? What have you done so far to do that? What's been holding you back? And a few other pointed questions. Are you willing to make an investment in yourself for making this change? So the result of that was the number of calls coming in, which I could have hired someone else to screen those calls. Instead, we reduced those calls down. We're basically nowadays, I'm doing like maybe 2, 3, or 4 of those consults a day. And they're quick, they're direct, they're to the point. And the benefit of that is these people are highly motivated now. They've already gone through that, let's call it out, compliance hurdle of selecting themselves as those people who are willing to put in the work. In my old world, I used to say that willingness to pick up the phone and call is directly proportionate to change. You know, that person who would send you a bunch of emails and then never really engage by phone, probably wasn't going to come in the first place. But instead, by putting this little bit of a velvet rope, which the metaphor is the elite club, where the bouncer's outside with the clipboard choosing who comes in and who doesn't get to come in. Velvet rope system, the name modeled from Michael Port, Book Yourself Solid, a fantastic book to look at. So again, what this does for me is it now brings in the cream of the crop, the elite people that I really want to be working with, which again, I teach this in full detail in my Hypnotic Business Systems program, but quite openly, call that phone number, look at the website, run through the entire system all the way towards actually clicking to schedule. Just, reserve that time for the people who actually are my clients. But again, you can see that whole system in place. So the benefit is that now I'm only speaking to those people who are highly motivated to move forward. Step 2, run the velvet rope system. Which, by the way, again, here's the link to the resources. If you go to worksmarthypnosis.com/smart reviews. No space, all one word. That's going to give you the survey form that you're going to see later in action. That's going to give you some of the links that I'm going to mention here throughout this. That's also going to give you the transcription of this entire presentation. Check that out, worksmarthypnosis.com/smart reviews. If you are watching this later on after the fact inside of Hypnotic Business Systems, look above this video, the entire resource package that I shared to the people on this virtual conference event, that same resource is shared above. So step three, plant the seed in advance of the call. So here's what happens. Let me walk you through the moving pieces once they've gone through that velvet rope system. They have now scheduled time to speak with me. Now, the benefit of that is the way that we've set up the scheduling software, and you can use any scheduling software that's out there. I give a whole resource list in Hypnotic Business Systems. The benefit of that call in advance is that in my system, you can't book that call any less than like 4 hours out. So it's really because I don't want any surprises throughout my day. Chances are sometimes I've blocked off time and I don't want that time available to you because I'm working on something else such as this, or some piece of content for another program, or just simply I've gone home for the day because I like seeing my family. So plant the seed in advance of the call by having a bit of lead up time. The benefit now becomes, first of all, from the scheduling software that's part of that velvet rope system, the benefit now becomes we know when we're going to speak to them, and by we I mean me. I know when I'm going to speak to them, and 2, I now know what they want to work on. Think of the dynamic this now changes, because the benefit now becomes, if I know you're coming in, you're calling me, we're going to speak about stopping smoking. In advance of speaking to you on the phone, I can send you an email with several more resources to look at. Hey, here, check out this article of me that was written about me in Arlington Magazine. Here's this video, and check out these dozen or so additional testimonials you might not have seen on the website. If it's public speaking, I can send them over some resources such as me giving a major presentation, which is a nice confidence builder for these people. I can send over client testimonials. I can send over a chapter of the book, perhaps. Plant the seed in advance of the call. If it's weight loss, I can send over video testimonials. I can send over testimonial surveys. So again, the benefit of this now becomes, just to plant a bit of a preview here, would be that now, maybe it's later today, maybe it's tomorrow, perhaps it's even sometime next day or so. The benefit now becomes, once we're on the phone, the rapport is already in place. You've heard of funnel marketing? where here's the big funnel and here's everybody coming in. What I'm doing by planting the seed in advance of the call is I'm moving myself out of that top of funnel entry point and instead down to the bottom of the funnel. So nowadays, I'm in the place where now it's already been verified. Hey, this stuff works. This guy gets results. Here's the 10-year case history of working with people as well. So plant the seed in advance of the call. And I have to tell you, as high-tech as I can get, I am doing this step in the most low-tech way possible. So as much as I'm using a big fancy automation email system, which I use one called Infusionsoft, which is rather pricey, and it's a little bit more than most people need in this industry, you can look at things like Aweber or GetResponse or MailChimp. Those are the four I recommend. Or Keep, K-E-A-P, which is the entry level nowadays of Infusionsoft. You can use any of those and you could automate emails. I'm not doing that. Basically, any email system you've got, whether you're using Outlook, whether you're using Gmail, I believe with Yahoo, or even just from my iPhone, I can go into an email that I've already sent and hit resend. And really all I'm doing is I'm finding an email to somebody else in the same category that I previously sent and hitting resend. That opens up a brand new email draft. And I change out the email address for the new person because when they schedule the call, I now have their email address. And on top of that too, I'm changing the first line of customization. Hey, Joe. There you go. So what are we doing? They've got the schedule confirmation for when we're going to speak together. But then the next step from there simply becomes I'm now pumping them in advance of the efficacy of the work, giving them that social proof element well in advance. This right here is the biggest part of this system. That by the time I'm on that call, my booking rate, my conversion rate, as it's often called, is now at its absolute peak. Because again, we're starting the conversation with this actually works, which is often that concern as they're coming into hypnosis. So step 4, nail the consult, book the client. That easy, huh? Well, yeah, inside of business systems, I do teach my entire phone strategy process. But in the process, really, I'll give you the simple example, the simple preview of it. I'm really doing like the first 5 minutes of my client intake on the phone. I'm looking for that moment where I'm gathering enough information where then I can pivot and then explain, here's how we're going to work together. And true story, it's Friday this past week. And I had a client who came in, and let me give you the numbers. She paid for 4 sessions, and my rate for that is $1,500. And in conversation, she's a business person coming in for some anxiety issues. She actually said to me in the office, I agreed to work with you within the first 15 seconds of you taking the call. And here's why. I set the opening frame. Change the name. Hey, Stephanie, so here's how we do this. First, we'll talk a little bit about what your goals are. We'll talk about hypnosis, what it is and what it isn't. And then if I think I can help you out, I'll explain how we can get started. Sound good? Which, of course it does. Because it's where, let me go off on another little rant here. I've heard some people in this industry say if somebody calls you up and asks you how many sessions, how much is it, they're just a bargain shopper, you don't even need to bother with those people. And that is the crappiest advice I've ever heard, and it's still being given away. No, what other questions are you going to ask? So you as the business owner have the right to set the frame of the call. So we'll chat about your goals, we'll talk about hypnosis, what it is and what it isn't, and then if I think I can help you out, I'll explain how we can get started. Sound good? Which by that last chunk, if I think I can help you out, I'll explain how we can get started. By them saying yes to that question, they've given you full permission to make a sales offer at the end of it, which rant number 3. Very often when I talk about business for hypnotists, I hear the phrase, well, I'm more of a clinician than I am a business person. And no, you're both. It's a hypnosis business. Unless you're running a business, you're not going to have the hypnosis clients. So nail the consult. Listen to their issues, put it into the context of how you're going to work together, make that pivot, here's how we're going to get started, schedule the appointments. Now this goes into much bigger systems, which again I teach elsewhere online. However, one extra bit inside of here, we're going to plant a seed for ourselves. Ask the question, how did you find me? Because here's a little phrase that I've been living by in business recently. When you're the person who does the thing, you're the person who does the thing. That's weird. Let me give you an example. This dates back to when I was in the stage hypnosis career. I did not have a promo video when I first got started. So instead, I was working a regular show at a local restaurant that had a entertainment side of it. So because I didn't have the video, when you're the person who does the thing, you're the person who does the thing. I was able to say to potential bookings, hey, you know what? I don't have a video I can send you right away. Or let me phrase it better. You know, rather than sending you a video to watch on a tiny screen on your computer, I do a regular program over at Zen Westover in Baltimore. I can set aside free tickets for you if you and your committee want to come check out the program live and in person to see exactly what it's going to be like to have at your presentation. Which I have to tell you, I made that offer dozens of times. I set aside tickets so many times. Guess how many people actually followed up on showing up and seeing the show for free? 0. Not a single person. However, when you're the person who does the thing, you're the person who does the thing. The benefit of this became no one else was making that offer. Everyone else was sending, this is again going back 12, 13 years ago, everybody was sending a rather bad quality video because that's how videos were on the internet nowadays. Now I'm streaming to you in high definition 1080p. Woohoo. Yes. So back then that was a hurdle. But I was able to make the offer that you're able to come in and actually see the show. Let me set aside tickets for free. Here's the example. When you're the person who does the thing, you're the person who does the thing. As I now see most of my clients by referral, most of my clients are coming in by referral. Or when you find me by way of Yelp or Google on those review sites, again, that's where, as a preview, I'm going to point those people. If you told me you found me on Yelp, I'm going to send you back to Yelp to eventually leave a review. You found me on Google, I'm going to send you the Google. If you found me by referral, I'm going to do what I can to suggest strongly the idea of referrals. Which let me go off on another quick rant here, which this may ruffle some feathers. Let's talk about Yelp for a moment. We'll detail these a little bit more later. There's a lot of bad blood out there about Yelp. And it's the same story behind Facebook. And yes, Facebook is in the news right now with some questionable things about what ads get up there. However, here's the thing. Yelp and Facebook do at their core have a mission statement. How well they follow the mission statement is a question nowadays, about building community. So here's the situation. People talk about Yelp throttling reviews. Well, I'll say this comfortably. What they actually do, and you can track this, and I've tested this myself, even if I was a brand new person and going on Yelp for the first time, and I went to a restaurant and I had a phenomenal experience, and I went on to Yelp and I left a 5-star positive review. Guess what? Even that review might not actually show up in the ratings. Why? Because I was not a person who was actively using the Yelp app on my phone and actively going in and leaving reviews. Now, the same is fortunately also true. Let's call it out. You can't be everything to everybody. Here's one person who gets a little bit upset about just what their result was, or maybe a miscommunication as it happens, and they go online and they blast you 1-star review and nothing's there. Well, again, that review might not show up either because, again, Yelp is building community. So what their throttling process is, if we want to use that terminology, is the fact that they're only showing reviews from the people who actually use their service. And here's how I ran a bit of an unofficial test of this years ago. I had somebody who left me a 5-star review and it didn't show up. And she's a local business owner as well. And I called her up just to say, hey, here's something that happened. And I'm curious to run an experiment if you're willing. What's your favorite restaurant? Yeah. Who's your mechanic? Do this. Wait like 5 days and leave a review for your favorite restaurant. Wait about a week. She goes, I'm going in for a service next week for my car. I go, great. After the service at your car, go ahead and leave a review for the mechanic. After she left that 3rd review and she started to see the value of the Yelp service, all 3 reviews were no longer throttled and actually appeared. Now, they do have a bigger, expensive advertising platform, which, let me call it out, I have yet to meet anybody who was happy with it. However, they do have a service which I pay like $75 a month for, which makes me so I can optimize the page a little bit better. It doesn't show my competitors on the page. And quite honestly, I get more than enough business, mid-5 figures income a year from clients who come in by way of Yelp, that it's definitely worth the $900 a year. That again, if you're just starting up, don't do it yet. They will call you, and here's the polite way to get off the phone because they are a little sort of aggressive in calling you. You know what, I'll look into that, but I'll tell you most of my clients are coming in by way of referral, so I really don't see it as a need in my business right now, but thank you so much for sending the information. You know, be polite, because again, this is a viable service, especially here in the US and Canada. Elsewhere, there's similar things, but by asking, how did you find me, that plants the seed for later. So let's move on to step 5, office forms. We're gonna double up on this. I wanna ask again on the office forms, how did you find me? Which, by the way, let me back up for a second. I'm only going to really ask the question, how did you find me, when it's in the actual business section of how we get together. Or sometimes there's variation. Usually they tell me what right away, or I can see it on the form, on the application, on the velvet rope thing, how they found me. But I'm going to double up once again, because quite simply, as much as my note-taking from the incoming call is pretty robust, sometimes I forget. So I'm going to put it on the office forms as well to track how did you find me. This is all going to come together in the bigger system. Guess what, kids? We're halfway through. Step 6, emulate the lobby of success. And this is where, in my lobby, is this big old binder. And I've got a couple of 50 or 60 more of these to put in here, but I'm lazy, and this book already weighs about 12 pounds. So this is just testimonial after testimonial of clients, which, by the way, the exact survey form that I'm going to talk about later, that's going to be in the resources that I'm going to be sharing with you. Small side note, there is a testimonial in here that is slightly buried, and no matter what you message me about, I'm going to send you this Stephanie testimonial as an example. No matter what issue you reach out to me for, Stephanie's testimonial was about stop smoking and binge eating. Even if you're calling me for public speaking confidence or overcoming your fear of flying, I'm always going to send you the Stephanie testimonial. And in the email, the sort of plant the seed, I'm going to say, take note, the Stephanie survey is for a different issue than what you reach out to me for. However, I think you'll see why it's my favorite. Winky face emoji. Yes, indeed. I'm doing this because I'm setting the character of how we're going to work together, and I'll read you a bit of Stephanie's testimonial. Jason worked with me to change exactly what I wanted to change. I couldn't be more pleased with the results. Came in to quit smoking and stop binge eating. How did it go? Bizarro, maddeningly successful. Helped me to address the behavior I wanted to change. I don't recognize those behaviors as part of what I do anymore. I don't even think about smoking. It's foreign to me compared to other methods, the gum, the medication. I previously obsessed over cigarettes. It exceeded my expectations. And the real kicker, other comments, Stephanie wrote, Jason knows his shit. That's right. I buried this a little bit deeper in the book because I do sometimes work with kids, and let's at least have that further down in the pile. So really, no matter what you're coming into me for, you're going to see that Stephanie testimonial because it is just gorgeous. But the lobby of success, if they come in and they have to wait for some reason, you know, this is what I've got out there. I don't have the TV streaming CNN or Fox News or the Weather Channel, as exciting as that sounds. I don't have a bunch of magazines that are sitting out there. Instead, the only thing that they can read out there are further client testimonials, which, let's step back and I want you to see a preview of where we're going with this. Later on, I'm going to be asking them for a testimonial. But are you seeing that already I've planted the fact, the hypnotic presupposition, that people come to work with me and they're successful and they give me feedback. So it's where I'm priming the pump well in advance. So by the time I make the ask, it's already a part of the system. That's the missing element. This is why, if you think back in times, especially for you seasoned pros out there, you've asked for testimonials and you didn't get them. It's because you didn't condition it as part of the process in advance. That's what makes this system work. Step 7, help your client. Makes sense, right? Help them get the result, which if you're not yet getting the results that you ought to be getting with your clients, seek out further training. You can check out hypnoticworkers.com, which is my entire hypnosis training library in digital access format. Join me live for WorkSmartHypnosisLive.com. That's the upcoming live event version of that too, which the people who attend that get Hypnotic Workers as a part of that benefit of the course. But simply model systems that actually work. So you should be out there getting good results with your clients, and chances are in this virtual convention that this event is part of, there's a lot of other presentations specifically themed towards getting the results with the clients. This presentation is specifically about business. However, look at the side note of this. If the client is going into the process already having deeper rapport with you and already knowing the efficacy of the work, do you already start to see how that's going to begin to bump up your results a little bit further? Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, step 7, help your client. Step 8, graduation. So I stole this term, I modeled this term excellently when I had to go through a quick oral surgery a few years ago. And the periodontist, after like our 3-month follow-up, goes, "All right, you graduated." And I go, "What do you mean by that?" He goes, "You don't have to come see me ever again. You can just go to your regular dentist." Like, sweet, which I like this guy, but I don't have to go back anymore. So I give you that as the reference because, again, I'm not going to be asking for the testimonial until the services are completed and the result is in place. I despise the testimonials of, "I'm leaving Jason's office and I'm so excited." No, you want the results. So again, most often I am seeing clients in a multiple session program unless a single session strategy is part of it, which even if it is the single session strategy, that's going to be reaching out long term to get that feedback later on. But in this platform, I'm going to wait till they've actually graduated from the program. And I see that, I'll phrase it this way, they now have the skills and resources to continue on their own, even without me. I say this to my clients on the phone. My goal is to give you the most effective process and the most efficient use of your time. So my goal is to look at you in some point and say to you, professionally speaking, I hope to never see you again. And let that be a positive thing. Sound good? There we go. So graduation. Now, step 9, the review stack. If you've been through my hypnosis training content before, you've heard me before say that compliance precedes suggestibility. If you've heard me as well, you've heard me talk about setting the frame in advance, stacking the frame. So the same back to that phone call. So we'll talk about what your goals are, we'll discuss hypnosis is and what it isn't, and then if I think I can help you out, I'll explain how we can get started. Make sense? So here's the review stack. I'm not just going to ask, "Hey, would you leave me a review?" Because again, that has a certain connotation to it. Instead, we're going to stack it in such a way. We've wrapped up our services. It's the 3rd or 4th session or however many in our series, or maybe we've added on for some specific reason. And here's how I now handle it. This is a bit of a timing type thing. "Hey, do you have 5 minutes before you head out?" Yes. Everyone always says yes because I make sure I leave time for it. So what am I doing? I'm stacking in advance that 1, it's not going to take long, and 2, they've got time to do it. "Do you have 5 minutes before you head out?" Yes. Great. "Do you remember those survey forms that I sent you before we initially set this up?" Yes. With those 2 yes questions, I'm 100% in asking for the testimonial and getting it, at least in the written form. We'll talk about the digital version to round this out. And I'll pull one of these out. This is from a woman named Carly who came to me for issues with, I haven't talked about this one. This is from a woman named Carly who came to see me last year, February, with issues around driving. For years, though, I made the joke that there's certain categories that just will not leave you testimonials, one of them being pornography addiction. Until a guy came in, he goes, "Do you want me to fill out one of those surveys?" And I'm like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm going to keep it anonymous by writing my first name, though, if that's all right." I go, "Sure, go right ahead. You'll hear me say that in a bit, too." He goes, "Good, because I only want to do it." You probably can't see it on camera because we can't zoom in. But his first name was Jason. Yeah, okay, we'll set that aside. So let me use this Carly one for the sake of this workshop here. "Do you have 5 minutes before you head out?" Yes. "Do you remember those survey forms I sent you when we set this up?" Yes. Because it's feedback from people like you who have seen the results this process can create. That's what helps us to best grow the business. And it'd be wonderful if you could just spend those 5 minutes that you've got to fill out one of these quick exit surveys out in the lobby. Pause. Exit survey has a different connotation than testimonial. And if it's okay for me to share it publicly, feel free to write your name on the line. Or if you would prefer that I keep it anonymous, feel free to just write your first name and last initial, or just your initials or whatever you like. Sound good? Great. Thank you so much for being willing to do that. And that's it. Let me say that one more time, but again, in the resources, this is in the transcription. Do you have 5 minutes before you head out? Yes. Do you remember those survey forms I sent you when we first set this up? Yes, because it's feedback of the success stories like yours that helps us to continue to grow the business. It'd be wonderful if you could fill out one of these quick exit surveys during those 5 minutes, which really helps us to spread the awareness about the benefits of hypnosis. If it's okay to put this publicly online, go ahead and just write your first and last name. If you'd rather me keep it anonymous, you can write your first name and last initial, or just your initials if you like, or whatever you choose. Thank you so much for being willing to do that out in the lobby. And that's it. And as soon as they've done that, I scan it, I save it, it goes in the binder, and I make use of it later on. So the questions that this is asking, which again, I'm going to make this resource available to you in the Word document so you can make it your own. I'm going to share it with you as the PDF so you can see it actually as it is. I do not email this out though. Take note, this is something that's happening in my office before they leave, because as soon as they walk out the door, the compliance drop-off is just zero in my experience. But by pre-framing, do you have 5 minutes before you head out? Yes. Do you remember those survey forms? Yes. I've never had someone then balk back and go, yeah, I don't know. No, with that stack, I always get it when I ask for it. Briefly tell the story of your experience. What issues did you come here for? Share how successful it was. What was unique about the experience? How did you choose Virginia Hypnosis? How have we succeeded in meeting your expectations? 2 yes boxes. Would you feel comfortable referring us? Should the opportunity arise, would you work with me again? Other comments. And again, you're going to get that as part of the resources. But that stack is specifically the real meat of this, which even if you're brand new, if this was the one segment you took, you're going to find better results. Again, as soon as you have more reviews, the system now runs itself. And again, to get those resources, once again, if you're already watching this inside of Hypnotic Business Systems, look above, there's going to be a download button to get that. If you're watching this during the virtual convention, head over to worksmarthypnosis.com/smart reviews. That's where you can get the resources, the transcription, an example of my emails, as well as those survey forms too. And then step 10, the final step of this system, repurpose their review. And by repurpose, I mean you're going to take their content and you're going to put it other places. So that can be in a binder that you begin to grow out in your lobby. That could be as PDF scans that you then email out. But remember, going back, I said, how did you find me? If you found me on Yelp or if you found me on Google, I'm going to do one extra step. I'm going to give it about a week in my experience. I'm going to go through and I'm going to type out, I do this manually, I'm going to type out what you wrote on my form. And I will then email you to say, hey, Carly, you mentioned that you found me on Yelp. And since you found me on Yelp, it'd be wonderful if you could also share some of your story for other Yelp users such as yourself. If it's still fine with you, I actually typed out a transcription of what you wrote on my form. Feel free to copy and paste or add or take away whatever you see fit. Here's a link to go online and leave that review. So what am I doing here? I'm making it easy. I'm making it push button simple. But step 1 was I want the written piece of paper. And step 2 is then I'm going to type this out, send them over that, because I'll tell you, many of my reviews online actually in their origin were these. And again, the whole premise of this presentation, client testimonials made easy. I made it easy on the person to leave that review. Similar to that, let's go to video testimonials as a bit of a bonus with this. So really, this is the real meat of it. If it's the video testimonial, I set up the camera like it is right now on me on the office chair, and rather than doing the restate the question, I simply do this. Hey, you know what? Many people are kind of new to shooting videos like this, so I'll make it easy for you. I'll give you a prompt, and if you would do this, if you would repeat the prompt and finish the sentence, that tends to be the most comfortable way to do this. So, my name is Carly and I came to see Jason for. Oh, my name is Carly and I came to see Jason for getting rid of my public speaking, my driving anxieties. The results of the process were, oh, the results of the process were amazing. And what am I doing? I'm going in and we're editing out the segments where I'm prompting the person. And I do tell the person, use as much or as little as my phrasing as possible, which I'll tell you, when you're the person who does the thing, you're the person who does the thing. The more video testimonials I have, the more video testimonials I get. There's a reason why I've got several hundred of these over the last 10 years. So repurpose their review, but look at the entire system of this. The reason why most people don't have reviews is they wait till the very end to get them. Or they realize, as it was a phone call I had this past week, here's a practitioner who's been in business 3 years and is struggling. Why? She's got no reviews online. There's no proof of what she does. So this is something you set in motion early on. And again, get the resources of everything I've shared with you, the transcription and all that. WorkSmartHypnosis.com/smart reviews. Again, if you are watching this inside of Hypnotic Business Systems, ignore that link, just click the button above. So this has been Client Testimonials Made Easy. And for more like this, I teach everything I've done to grow my business, and I continuously add to an online library and growing, thriving community, Hypnotic Business Systems. It delivers to you several dozen business action plans, step-by-step tutorials, screenshot guides teaching you some of the technology of your business, some of the actual transcriptions of my phone consults and how I do them, plus some done-for-you email marketing campaigns. You can get the entire all-access pass by going to hypnoticbusinesssystems.com. You're able to sign up for that on a brief payment plan or even an extended payment plan, which I love doing that because I love getting the feedback that I earn back my investment even before I finish paying for the course. There's several hundred people inside of the program all around the world, and even better, we've got a private Facebook community where we're all there to support each other. There's no need to reinvent the wheel as a professional hypnotist. Model what works, learn the systems that I'm using right now, as well as the systems that got me up and running inside of hypnoticbusinesssystems.com. So with that, I'm Jason Lynette. Thank you so much for joining me during this virtual convention event. And I'd love to hear your feedback on this. And even better, I'd love to hear your feedback once you've got these systems in place. Feel free to send me an email. I'm easy to track down. I'm Jason, and I'm in Virginia, and I do hypnosis. So my email address is jason@virginiahypnosis.com. Subscribe to the Work Smart Hypnosis podcast or download it easily over at worksmarthypnosis.com. I'm a regular at many of the upcoming hypnotic conventions at our industry, and I look forward to speaking with you and working with you very soon. Enjoy your education throughout this event, and as we like to say, make it rain. Thanks for watching.